Okay, let's get right into it. We're talking about a massive shakeup in one of Africa's biggest economies. Nigeria is making a really bold move to completely overhaul its giant state-owned oil company, the NNPC.
And that brings us to the big question, right? Why on earth would a country decide to sideline its own state oil giant? I mean, what is really going on here that's driving this massive reform?
Well, it all boils down to a fundamental problem, a huge conflict of interest. You see, for years, the NNPC has been playing two different roles at the same time, and it's basically plagued the entire industry.
And this is the best way to think about it. The NNPC has been acting as both a player on the field, a commercial company, and the referee who manages the contracts. I mean, can you imagine if a team's captain was also the one with the whistle? That's the conflict, and it's led to some pretty serious problems. So what does that conflict look like in the real world? It looks like this number. Over 4 years. That's the ruinously long time it takes, on average, just to get a project contract approved. 4 years! In a global industry that moves at lightning speed, that kind of delay is just crippling. And look, this goes way beyond just slow paperwork. This whole flawed system has led to oil assets just not performing like they should, widespread allegations of mismanagement and corruption, and the NNPC basically sitting on the sidelines as a passive partner. It's been a recipe for total inefficiency. Okay, so that's the mess. Pretty clear, right? Now, let's get into the fix. The government has come up with this really ambitious two-part plan to finally untangle this whole thing. The plan is super direct and, honestly, pretty bold. First, the NNPC is going to give up its power to manage contracts. Period. Second, it's going to sell off its majority stakes in its biggest joint ventures. This isn't just some small tweak. It's a complete reboot of how the industry works. So if NNPC isn't handling the contracts, who is? Well, that's where this new group comes in, the NUPRC. It's a brand new independent regulatory commission. The whole idea is to finally have a real impartial referee on the field, one that isn't also playing for one of the teams. And this chart shows you part 2 of the plan perfectly. Right now, NNPC holds a majority stake, somewhere between 55 and 60% in the projects that produce most of Nigeria's oil. The plan is to completely flip that. They'll sell off shares until they become a minority partner, holding less than 50%. That's a move that totally changes the power dynamic. Okay, so we're untangling the roles, we're changing up the ownership, but so what? Why go through all this trouble? What's the big payoff here for the country? Well, this is why. We are talking about a ton of money. Selling off those stakes is expected to bring in somewhere between 17 and, wait for it, $40 billion. That is an absolutely game-changing amount of cash for any economy. And this isn't just about a number on a spreadsheet. The stated goal is to funnel that money directly into national development projects. You know, we're talking tangible things that could actually improve the lives of millions of people across the country. Now, when you make a change this big, it obviously doesn't happen in a vacuum. It creates some serious ripple effects, and it's going to change the game for basically every major player in the industry. So let's just walk through it. For the government, it's a shot at more revenue and better transparency. For investors, a clearer set of rules could really boost confidence. What about NNPC itself? Sure, it loses some control, but the hope is it gains a massive amount of efficiency. And for the citizens, the real payoff could be seeing the benefits of that new revenue and just better governance overall. So this all sounds incredibly promising, doesn't it? But, and this is a really big but, a plan on paper is one thing. Actually making it happen, that's a whole different ballgame. A plan is only as good as its execution. To really make this work, a few things are seen as absolutely critical. The bidding process for those stakes has to be squeaky clean, totally transparent and competitive. The new regulatory bodies need to be genuinely strong and independent, and you've got to have tough anti-corruption measures, plus super clear guidelines for any private companies coming in. And all of this leaves us with the final $40 billion question. Nigeria has put a truly bold plan on the table to fix decades of inefficiency. But will they actually pull it off? Is this the moment that finally unlocks the full potential of its oil sector and helps change the country's future? Honestly, only time will tell.